Guys, today we are going to see the keys, that's what super keys and candidate keys and primary key. How do we decide what will be the candidate keys and what are the primary keys? So let me open the sheets and we'll continue that. And see now here, so we can use any of these combination of the columns to identify a record. So all these combinations we can say super keys. So see that here we have prepared this list of columns. So let's say employee ID is alone one super key, phone number is alone one super key, email ID is alone one super key. So or else employee ID and name is one super key, and name, salary, department ID, email ID is one super key. We can take any of these as a super keys. All these are super keys. So in a super key we can put a maximum 16 columns, not more than that. That's what super keys. Among all these super keys we are going to identify the candidate key. How did we identify a candidate key? So guys, actually any super key with one column, that is good for candidate key. Let's say employee ID, phone number, email ID, these are only single columns, so I can say these three are okay for candidate keys. What about employee ID and name? This is not candidate key. Why? So this is all not candidate keys. Why? What is the reason? Because you see, observe one thing, in this combination employee ID and name, these two are not candidate keys. I am not going to consider this is super key. In this super key we have two columns and this super key is not fit for candidate key. Why sir? What is the reason? The reason is, see here, even though if you don't provide the name details, just provide only employee ID, that's enough. So I am able to get the data. In that case we are not going to say this is candidate key. If you want to say this super key as a candidate key, then you need to say that these two column values are mandatory. You have to provide employee ID as well as employee name. Then only I can able to identify the correct person. If that is the case, then I can say this is a candidate key. But here that is not that case. Here even though if you don't provide name value, just provide only employee ID, that's enough. So that's why we are not going to say this is candidate key, because in this super key we have some columns. Even though if you don't provide that columns, no problem, still we can identify the record. So in that case we are not going to consider this combination of columns or this super key as a candidate key. Let's see the same situation for this also. Even though if you don't provide these three details, just provide their email ID, that's enough, I can identify that person. Even though if you don't provide salary, just provide phone number, I can identify that guy. See now here in this combination, phone number and email ID, no need to, both values are not required. Either one is enough, either phone number or email ID, that is enough. So in that case we are not going to say this is also, I am not going to consider it as a candidate key. And in here also I am not going to consider as candidate key. See, this is all are not going to fit for candidate keys. So that's why, so now here finally from this list of super keys I collected these three super keys as good for fit for candidate keys. And among these three candidate keys, again I need to identify primary key among these three. And finally I selected employee ID is the primary key. Why you selected only employee ID, sir? The main reason is employee ID is the values which are storing integer. That is one reason. Among these three columns, which column is storing the integers, guys? Employee ID. Because when we are doing the search operations with the numbers, it will performance will very faster compared to the character based. Okay. So that's why we finally selected employee ID as the primary key. So now here that is not only the reason, guys. There are the reasons to select employee ID as the primary key, because the first reason is this is integer column, employee IDs will store all the numbers, and the second reason is employee IDs, every employee should have one ID. There is no way to say that, sir, there are some employees they don't have the employee ID. We can't say that. Every employee should have one ID. That means there are no chance of having nulls in this employee ID column. So can I say there are one employee, sir, without phone number? Of course we can say that, because he is not using, right now he is not using any phone number. In that case he is not having any phone number, we are going to put a null in that particular column. What about email ID? Let's say I have given my personal email ID in the company. but I forgot the password and I'm not going to use that email ID anymore. I'm planning to create a new email ID. Until I created and I given that new email ID, they will put a null in the database. So, but what about employee IDs? Employee IDs will never and ever will be null. Every employee should have one ID, one employee ID. So that is one reason. That is one of the main reason we are choosing employee ID as the primary key, because in that particular column, whichever column we are going to make, whichever the key we are going to make as a primary key, that column should not allow nulls. That means every employee should have values in that column. That's what EID column is. So now here I written that same notes, guys, why I selected primary key here. So super keys, that is a super key. A super key can be a single column or a combination of multiple columns, which helps to get the specific records from the table. That's what super key. Candidate key means it is a super key. All candidate keys are super keys only. It is a super key. A candidate key should need or mandatory all the values if it contains multiple columns. So that means a candidate key should need or mandatory all the values if it contains multiple columns. Let's say here, if you want to say this is a super key is a candidate key, it should need all these values. Name, I need a name also, salary also, department ID also, email ID also. All these 4 details I need. Then only I can identify a person. In that case, then we can say this is also candidate key. But here the situation is not like that. Even though if you don't provide these 3, I can still only with the email ID I can get the employee details. So that is the situation. That's why we are saying this is not candidate key. So now here in the above example, the super key EID and ename will not consider as a candidate key, since even if you don't provide a name, only EID will help to get the data from the table. So we should not consider this as candidate key. We are not going to consider this as a candidate key, guys. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay guys, that is what here. And now here all super keys are candidate keys. Whatever super keys, all super keys are not candidate keys, guys. This is all not candidate keys. Only few super keys can be going to act as a candidate keys. And whatever candidate keys we mentioned, all these candidate keys are super keys. All these candidate keys are super keys. Okay. And the primary keys, we are going to finalize a primary key from the list of candidate keys. From this list of candidate keys, finally we are going to get one primary key. How to create this primary key, what is advantages, disadvantages of this primary key, all that we will address in the next sessions. Next sessions we will discuss that one. And here is that primary key. We are going to finalize a primary key from the list of candidate keys. So now follow below 2 recommendations to choose the primary key from the list of candidate keys. What are those 2 recommendations here? The candidate key should not populate values. Should have always populate the values. That means it should not store any nulls. Always choose the one whose data type is number related data type, guys, because it will be improve the performance when we are performing the search operations by using these primary key columns. So in the above table, EID column has been chosen as a primary key. Okay. So for example, guys, in the Paytm database, a customer table, in the customer table, username, password, OTP, these 3 are considered as a primary key. So for example, in a bank database customer table, last 4 digits of your account number and the date of birth are considered as a primary key. So now this is what, guys, see that in this primary key we have 2 columns, and in this above primary key we will be having 3 columns. Okay. So now here this is just for example, guys, for our understanding purpose. A primary key can contain 1 or more than 1 column also. Okay. So depends on the nature of the table. We can see that sometimes a primary key can have more than 1 column also. So super key or candidate key or primary key can contain maximum 16 columns in a key, not more than that. So now whichever the column we mentioned as a primary key, that column we are going to calling as prime attribute or prime attributes. Prime attributes means these are the list of the columns on which we are going to create primary key. So now in this example, in the employee table, I am going to create employee ID is the primary key. So that we can say this column is a prime attribute. Only this column is a prime attribute and remaining columns are non-prime attributes. So this prime attribute will help to identify a record uniquely. That means by using this number we can identify a record very easily by using the employee ID. So that's what here guys, prime attributes or non-prime attribute. Prime attribute is nothing but the column or the columns on which we created the primary key. Non-prime attribute means those are the columns the columns are not included in the primary key attributes. That's what. So now in this example, employee ID is the prime attribute, and in this example employee table, employee name, salary, department ID, phone number, email ID, all these columns are non-prime attributes. This is what guys, the meaning of prime and non-prime attributes. So whichever the column are going to be acting as a primary key column or columns, those columns we are going to consider as prime attributes. Or else we created primary key on only one column, then we can say that is one prime attribute, and rest of the columns we are going to consider as a non-prime attributes. This is what guys, the keys, and we will discuss more and more about the keys. We have that primary keys, unique keys, foreign keys, that is a separate session. Later we will discuss that one. And today we understand the meaning of prime attributes and non-prime attributes. So from this understanding of this prime and non-prime attributes, we are going to understand the normal form rules. What are these normal form rules are here. Just 1 minute guys. Okay guys, so now here you see that normal form 2. Last session we discussed normal form 1, and today we are going to discussing normal form 2. So normal form 2 represents, if you want to say this table is in the normal form 1, okay, let me remove these colors guys. So if you want to say this table is in the normal form 1, what is the rules guys? That columns names should be unique, and also there should not be any grouped values. There should not be any grouped values, and all the column names are unique. Then we can say, just 1 minute guys. So then we can say this table is in a normal form 1. All these are, it should not be having multi values or grouped values, and a column name should be unique. Then we can say the table is in a normal form 1. Yeah, this table is in a normal form 1. And second rule is all non-prime attributes should depends on all prime attributes. So we'll understand this rule again very clearly. First let's see this here guys. So this is my table, trainer name and trainer subject, experience and age. You see that? So now I am going to put some questions. So here I have a trainer CH Reddy, and he is teaching 2 subjects. This is what his experience in each subject, and this is what his age, 45. And Mike is teaching SQL. This is what his experience, and this is what his age. And similar way Scott is teaching DBA. This is what his experience, and this is what his age. See, this is what trainer names and their teaching subject and the experience and the age. Okay guys. And now here we need to understand one thing. I want to see what is the experience of CH Reddy. You tell me guys, can you answer for my question? What is experience of CH Reddy? Or else, okay, this is one question. Let me put a different question again. What is the experience, sir? Now here I came to your institute, sir. Now I am asking you one question. Can you please tell me the experience of your SQL trainer? See, now here when I am inquiring about experience details, can you please tell me the experience of your trainer CH Reddy? I can't tell you because CH Reddy is teaching 2 subjects. You need to tell the subject name also. So now here, that is what here guys. So now here the trainer CH Reddy is teaching 2 subjects, SQL and DBA. So when you are asking that question, what is the experience of CHAD, we need to specify subject also. For suppose now, let me put that question again here, different question again here. What is the experience of your DBA trainer? So if you put that question again, I am depending on trainer name also. If you provide only subject name, that is not enough. You need to ask, you need to tell me trainer name also. Because there are the multiple trainers and they are teaching same subjects sometimes and unique subjects, that's fine. Same subjects. So couple of trainers are providing different subjects, and some two trainers are providing same subject. You see that CHAD is providing SQL, Mike is also providing SQL, and CHAD is providing two subjects. See that in this case, when you want to know the experience details, you need to provide a trainer name as well as trainer subject, which subject is teaching. Sir, what is the experience of CHAD in a SQL subject? I can simply tell that 15 years. Sir, what is the experience of your DBA trainer? His name is Scott, DBA. See that guys, I am giving you now two details, trainer name as well as trainer subject, DBA and Scott. Then 30 years of experience. You see that in this table, I am going to use these two columns as a prime attributes, because I am going to create a primary key on these two columns. Because in this combination only I can get the data, right data. So I am going to make this combination is the prime attributes. So now here the prime attributes are trainer name and trainer subject is the prime attributes, and the non-prime attributes are experience and age columns are non-prime attributes. So you see that now here the experience column, if you want to know the experience, I need to know trainer name as well as his subject. Then I can tell the what is his experience. So now you tell me guys, if you want to know the age of your trainer, let's say what is the age of CHAD? 45. What is the age of Mike? 50. What is the age of Scott? 45. See that here again, if you want to know the age of your trainer, we don't need to know about this subject. Just trainer name is enough. See this guys. So now here this is non-prime attribute. Age is one of the non-prime attribute, and this non-prime attribute depends only on a trainer name. What is the age of SQL trainer? If you are going to use this as a subject, again I need to know trainer name. Trainer name is must. So trainer name is must. Just only use the trainer name, that's enough. No need to know that subject. So if you are asking me what is your age, I don't need to ask, tell me what subject he is teaching. This is, that is not correct question. Why you want to know that about the subject? Because I am asking age. If we want to know the age, we don't need to know about his subject details. If you want to know experience, then we need to ask a trainer name as well as his subject also. It's a mandatory. So that age, you see now here the experience column is depending on these two columns, but age column is depending on only on a trainer name but not on trainer subject. That means one of the non-prime attribute, that is age column, that is what age attribute. One of the non-prime attribute age is not depends on all the prime attributes. Here we have two prime attributes, but it is depends only on one prime attribute but not on a subject. So now here the second rule is failed. The second rule what it is, all non-prime attributes, that means experience and age, should depends on all prime attributes. That is what the second rule is failed. This table is failed, the second rule in the normal form too. How did you bring this table guys to pass the second rule? So this is the age column. We have to split this age column. We have to move this age column out of this table. And age column is depends on which column? Trainer column. Then copy this trainer column and move this age column into separate table. And one more table with the trainer name, subject and experience. These three columns with one separate table, and the trainer name and age with the separate table guys. Okay. So whatever I said, this is what same thing here the notes. Okay. So in order to pass the second rule, you see that now what we did. So we have moved this trainer subject. This is a separate table. Trainer is a separate table. In the trainer table, we have trainer name and age. Guys, this is not complete design of the final design. Okay, I will show that final design of this trainer under trainer and trainer subject. So this is what a trainer name and age. So now this age is depends only on a trainer name. That's why we moved this table. We moved these two columns as a separate. And here trainer subject. and a trainer name and subject and experience. Okay. And you see that CHRD, so in this table these two columns are going to be act as a prime attribute. This is non-prime attribute. In a trainer table, trainer name is a prime attribute, age is a non-prime attribute. So now here in this case, when I say trainer name and trainer subject is a prime attribute, and the CHRD SQL, if I am trying to put one more trainer with the same name CHRD and same skills SQL, it will consider as a duplicate record. So we can't put duplicate records in the table because same trainer name, same subject is considered as a duplicate record. So we can't put it. But CHRD with a different subject, it will be considered as a not duplicate record. So these details can be, we can put it in a database table. So this is what guys, but when it comes to this final designing of these trainer names, trainer age, trainer subject and trainer experience, this is what the final designing guys for these tables. So we are going to decide what subjects are there, what subjects, overall subjects your institute is covering, 2 subjects, SQL and DBA. What is the subject ID? And overall trainers are there. In the trainers table it will show all the trainers, trainer ID, trainer name, and is the subject. You see that now there is 2 people are there. These 2 people are different guys because their age is different and their IDs are different. Don't say that both are same. No, both are not same. There are 2 people are there with the same name CHRD. And what subjects these trainers are teaching? So we have the trainer subject table, and this is the ID of that normal sequence. And here trainer ID 1. Trainer ID 1 means he is a CHRD. CHRD is teaching 2 subjects, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 means SQL and DBA. What is his experience? 12 and 20. Same thing. I think here I have to say 50. Not 12, I have to say 15 here. 15 and 20. Okay. So this is a trainer ID 2. 2 is the mic. He is teaching 1. That is what SQL, and his experience is 25. And this is what guys, trainer ID 3. 3 means a Scott. Is the trainer ID 3. This is what Scott. Scott is teaching DBA and his experience is 30 years. And the trainer ID 4. 4 means again another CHRD. He is teaching SQL. His experience is 25 years. Okay, something like this. So like this we are going to finally, this is what the final design guys. And you see here, after applying the normal form rules, you can say that okay, we'll continue with these tables only guys. Okay. So this is now you see these tables are, this is non-prime attribute, it depends on all columns here. This is non-prime attribute, it depends on all prime attributes. Only one prime attribute, it depends on it. So we can say these 2 tables are now in a normal form 2. It is passed normal form 2 rules. But this table is not passed guys, because one of the non-prime attribute age is not depends on all these prime attributes, both prime attributes, both attributes. It's not depends on both. This depends only on a trainer name. Okay guys, so this is what the discussion here. And now we can see that normal form 3. This is normal form 3, and again normal form 3 is having 2 more rules. So now here you see that the first rule is the table should be in a normal form 2 first, and the second one is all non-prime attributes should not depend on any other non-prime attributes. That's what the second rule. So let's see here, let's understand these rules now. So the table should be in a normal form 2. Let's take, this is my table. Okay, this is my table, this is the employee table. Let me zoom in. Yeah. So now see this guys, observe this table. This is my table. I have these employees, their salaries, department, email ID and their addresses as well here. And I am going to consider employee ID is the primary key, and all remaining attributes are non-prime attributes. You see, you observe one thing guys, in this table there is non-prime attributes, city, state, country, pin code. If you change the country, you have to change city, state, pin code also and address also. For suppose if I change the city, if I change the state from let's say I am the Smith. Okay, I am the Smith. I moved from Karnataka to, let's say, Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. I have to change, definitely have to change all these, right? Address, like address, city, pin code, all that. Because you see that when you change the value in a state, it is affecting the values in address line and the city and the pin code. Okay. For suppose if I change the city, so from Bangalore to something different, let's say Mysore, then state and country is the same, but pin code may change. Pin code and address will change. You see that guys. So if you can observe, these are address columns in this table. So these non-prime attributes are depends on each other. This is state is depends on country, and city and pin codes are depends on a state, and pin code is depends on a state also, city also, and address line is depends on all these columns. See, this is what, so some of these non-prime attributes depends on other non-prime attributes. But here, if we want to say this table is in a normal form 3, we should not, we have to make sure any of these non-prime attribute is not depends on other non-prime attribute. We have to make sure that. So, but here in this example, if we can see that, so some of these non-prime attributes are depends on other non-prime attribute. So this table is not in a normal form 3. This table is not in a normal form 3, guys. So this is what same thing I mentioned here in the above table. The column state depends on the country, the column city depends on a state column. It means non-prime attribute depends on other non-prime attribute. So the second rule is failed. So we have to split that table, above table, in order to pass the second rule. How did you split? This is how, guys. After applying this normal form 3 rules, we can see that our data will be like this. That's now countries I am going to store in a separate table, and states in a separate table, and cities in a separate table, and here we are going to make a address. So this is address ID 1, this is a city ID, state ID, country ID, pin code. Address ID 2, city ID, state ID, country ID, pin code. Address ID 3, this is what city ID represents 2. 2 means what is that? 2, Chennai. State ID 2 means Tamil Nadu. Country ID 1 means India. And this is what the pin code 560011. So now I just implemented this. I just implemented my, kind of just to make sure to bring this table to the normal form 3. We moved all these dependency non-prime attributes out of this table. See that we moved that. So now we added this address ID column, and this is Smith is address ID 1. Address ID 1 means this one. So now here, guys, in each table we are having one primary attribute, employee ID in employee table, and all other columns are non-prime attributes. Address ID is a prime attribute, all other columns are non-prime attributes, and city ID, state ID, and country IDs are prime attributes. Okay. So this is what, guys, after my final design, and you see that, and we are going to see some observations, guys. Before applying the normal form rules, this is how I am storing the data. But database is not going to throw any errors, not going to put any concerns when we are going to store the data like this. But why, sir? Why we apply normal form rules? What is the purpose, first of all? After applying the normal form rules, I am going to store the data like this. What is the use, sir? What is the use to store the data like this? I am coming to that. So now here you see that I didn't apply the normal form rules, and I am going to store the data. However, I feel better and started storing the data like this. For suppose, guys, I changed the value Bangalore. So let's say Bangalore city. Bangalore spelling is changed. Government of Karnataka is changed the city name from Bangalore to something Bengaluru. You see that how many places you have to change that word, change that value? So many places. So that means here, let's say I have 10,000 employees from Bangalore city, 1,000 employees are there from Bangalore city. Then we have to change that value 1,000 places. Right? That is going to impact the performance. And also, when we are going to update some of the values, you have to read the entire record. That's the problem. You have to read entire record, and you are going to update the specific column. So now here, to update this Bangalore keyword from Bangalore to Bengaluru, right now we have to update in 3 places. But after applying the normal forms, if you are going to change the city name from Bangalore to Bengaluru, you can always update in a single place. That is, in a cities table, you can update the city name from Bangalore to Bengaluru only in one place. You see that updates will be faster after applying the normal form rules. This is one of the example. So now if you apply the normal form rules, updates will happen very faster in the tables, because we are going to split all unnecessary tables into separate all unnecessary columns into separate tables, which will help to avoid storing the same values again and again. See, now the Bangalore keyword is not going to store again and again after we splitted the data. Are you seeing this keyword is storing again and again anywhere? No, sir. So that will indirectly help helping us to occupy less storage, less space, guys. See that Bangalore keyword is stored only one single space in this entire database tables, but here you see how many places it is stored? 3 places. If I have 1000 employees from Bangalore city, then 1000 places it has to store this Bangalore keyword, and it will consume more space. So the advantage after we splitted the table into, after applying the normal form rules, the tables are splitted by applying these normal form rules. We are having 2 advantages. One is update operations will happen faster, and another one is we are not going to unnecessarily store the same values again and again, duplicate values. We can remove that. We can avoid storing the same values again and again. Okay, that is the 2 advantages applying the normal form rules. What are the disadvantages applying the normal form rules? So the disadvantage is, for suppose if you want to say, let's say I want to display that my employee name and his city name, from which city he is from, and also which state he is from. I want to display those 3 columns, guys: employee name, city name, state name. So if you want to display that, the problem here is we have to join this table and these 2 tables. We have to join. We have to apply the join operations. We'll see that joins, guys, after constraint session. So now when we are going to joining these 3 tables, it is costly operations. Joins are costly. It will performance impact operations. Okay. So but here you see that whatever data you wanted to see, name of the employee, city name, state name, everything is there in a single table. So we can simply read these 3 columns without joining, without performing any complex operations. So this is one of the reason. This is what the table I am going to say denormalized table. That means this table is not normalized. So the denormalized, the unnormalized tables, the tables which are not applied normal form rules, those tables are faster while reading the data. But the normalized tables are, when we are going to read the data from the fully normalized tables, it will impact the performance. There should be some performance impact, guys, but that is not such a huge impact performance. Okay, so now that same thing I written here, the notes. So if we are not applying the normal form rules while designing the table, then this is what the disadvantage, this is advantage. If we are applying the normal form rules, what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage? The same notes I written here. So now if we are not applying the normal form rules, that means the table which is not applied the normal form rules, what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is we are going to store same data again and again. That is what Bangalore keyword is storing again and again, which is consuming more space as well as which will take more time to update the data. That's what disadvantage. What is the advantage? The select operations performance will improve, because whatever data is required, everything is there in a single table. So we can simply display the data without doing any complex operations like joins. So if we apply the normal form rules, then what is advantage and disadvantage? The advantage is the tables do not store the same data again and again. It will save the space, and also update operations will be faster. Update statement take less time to update the data. What is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is the read operations will take more time, because we have to perform join operations. Joins are costly operations. CPU, it will take more CPU utilization. So OLTP and OLAP databases, guys, usually we will see that 2 databases are categorized as OLTP databases, and this is not, OLTP, OLAP, how do you decide? That is the nature of the database, nature of the tables, designing of the database. Based on that, our architects will decide whether we are using this database as a OLTP or OLAP. OLTP databases are fully normalized, where we are going to perform more and more updates. More and more updates are expected to that data. And OLAP databases will have the data that is historical data, that is, usually that tables are not going to be normalized, because we want to use these OLAP databases to read some such a historical data. Let's last 1 year sales data, last couple of years sales data, last 3 years sales data, I want to read it. So when you want reading the data like that, so the read operation should be faster. So that's where we are having OLAP databases. So these are the two categories of databases, guys, you are going to work in our real-time projects. Okay guys, so this is what normal forms. So applying the normal form rules on the tables. But nowadays, guys, almost all databases, all the tables are in normal form 3. People are following the normal form 3 rules while designing the tables. Okay, so this is what, guys, normalization under normal forms. So the next session we are going to discussing relationships. What is the meaning of relationships? How can we provide the relationships among the tables? Between two tables, how do we understand the relationships? And also among the multiple tables, how do we understand the relationships? That's what the dependencies, data dependencies, and we'll see that in the next session, that is on Monday. Okay guys, see you on Monday. Bye.